Parents, it's asking if parents should punish their children to knock some discipline inside them.
Yeah, good. And then if you look at the task question, which is this, what do you think? So what is this asking you to do? What do you think? What exactly do you have to do with what do you think?
It's telling me to write an argumentative text.
Correct. So there's an argument in the question, and yeah, so if you look at the question, this is basically an argument. There is one section of people, who are arguing that punishment. So some parents believe or some parents argue that punishment or punishing the child is the best way for disciplining him or her. And then it is asking you for your opinion, your point of view, right? So how did you decide upon your opinion? I mean, how did you decide which side to take or like, yeah.
I decided to say that punishment is the way to discipline children, as long as it doesn't get physical. So yeah,
Okay. So my point is, how did you get to this argument? I mean, how did you decide that this should be your point of view or this should be your opinion?
um, I mean, most people would normally take that side, and common sense. Physical punishment is not cool. So yeah.
Okay. So ideally, whenever there's an essay and that essay is asking you for your opinion, it is good if you can kind of decide upon your opinion by framing the points on both the sides. Okay, rather
Yeah.
than just going by your personal experience or personal choice. Because if you just go by your personal choice and personal experience, then you might get lost in the essay because you might not have sufficient content to write on. So when you
I
decide your
mean,
opinion,
I equally treated both of the sides. So yeah.
okay. So you're trying to say that punishment should be there, but the punishment should not be physical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
you basically, it's not that, it should not be physical. You're basically trying to say that it should not be something which is abusive or which is
Yeah,
violent,
exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
your opinion is
Yeah.
this. Now, have you mentioned these words?
Huh?
Have you mentioned these words, should not be abusive, should not be violent?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
So, but they should not be abusive and violent, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how, your entire point should be. So this is your opinion and the content of the entire essay should basically hover around this opinion. Now, let us, even before we start working on the essay, I would really want to know that did you do something before writing the essay or you just, kind of started working on the essay? How was it?
I mean, obviously, I would have planned it out. So yeah.
You've not submitted the plan, so I would not know until you submit that. So how did you plan your essay? I mean, what were the points that you
I
planned and how did
mean,
you build up on
I
that?
didn't really write it down. I just didn't feel. I mean, normally I would plan it, but for some reason I just didn't decide to plan for this.
So it is good if you can kind of
Um,
plan on pen and
yeah,
paper.
I just said around. I would add my counterclaim around 3 to 4 paragraphs, and yeah.
So what could be the first idea? Why do you think that punishment should be there, but it should not be anything which is abusive and violent? What could be your first argument in favor of that?
If it becomes abusive or violent, it might traumatize the child.
Good. So it might. So punishment is good. Why? Why and how does a
To knock some
punishment?
discipline inside a child to make sure that he or she doesn't do anything like crazy, insane.
And how does punishment does that? What happens when you are punished?
It kind of knocks some sense and it gives you some time to like rethink and think about your mistake and what you should have done to make it
Good.
not a mistake.
So inculcates sense of guilt. Sorry, the spelling. Inculcates, yeah. Inculcates sense of guilt,
Yeah.
regret. So you explain this. When you explain this, this is how you do it. You're trying to build up on this.
Yeah.
What happens when you're punished? Punishment can help one rethink about the mistakes,
Yeah, exactly.
become repentful, and try and make deliberate efforts of not repeating the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of um, develop that self-realization. We call this self-realization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, this is one part. And the second part, it should not be abusive.
Yeah.
Okay, this is fine. This was one part. So, at the same time, it also, to a certain extent, you can say inculcates some amount of fear as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That, if you repeat, then you will have to bear with unwarranted consequences, yeah? Or repercussions.
Yes.
Cool. So you're basically trying to say that punishment should be in a form that is like giving a warning, rebuking, reprimanding, scolding, but should not have the intent of abusing someone or doing anything which is violent. This is what you're trying to say, right? So
Yeah.
we'll just put this over here. So punishment in the form of warning, maybe rebuking, reprimanding, criticizing, but definitely not abusing and violent. Okay, cool. Now, where's your evidence? Can you give us an evidence for this? An example, maybe?
Um, there's a Bob named boy. I mean, there's a boy named Bob.
Okay. So,
Not a Bob named boy. Like, so there's a boy named Bob.
okay.
Bob forgot to do his homework.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, parent get angry.
Mm-hmm.
The parents get angry. Um, physical abuse breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
Bob gets scared and will remember this for his whole life.
Okay. All right.
And
Okay.
yeah,
So, for failing in exams, we can even say something. For failing to complete his
a
homework,
task. So homework.
he was scolded. And so
Yes.
he made it sure that he completed all his homeworks.
Yeah. Oh, evidence to secure my claim.
Yes.
Wait.
That's what you
As
did.
in, okay.
You just did that, yeah. You just said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. Because a claim is basically a fact supported by evidence. So whenever you claim something, if you kind of say that, see, punishment is good, any sort of punishment, which is like giving a warning or rebuking or reprimanding or scolding, that is absolutely fine. Then you have to explain how and why it is good. What good does it do to the child or for the child? And at the same time, you also have to give an evidence or an example. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now this was one part of it. Now the second part is why it should not be abusive. Should not be abusive or
Because it can cause trauma, anxiety.
trauma.
Lots of trauma, anxiety, fear overall.
Yeah, I mean trauma, anxiety. The child often suffers from low self-esteem. Yeah.
If the abuse, if it's very abusive, then
Yes,
there might be some physical problems.
right. And yeah, so, anxiety and all this. And at the same time, this also embitters the relationship
Yeah, obviously.
between, parents and the child. And the child, is or becomes skeptical or apprehensive to divulge details any further to their parents,
Yeah,
right? The
yeah,
moment you know that
exactly.
you'll be beaten up or you'll be caned or you will be abused,
Exactly.
okay, and then you can give an evidence. What could be an evidence for this?
Um, Bob, um, okay, Bob forgot
No,
to
it's not
do
only
his
that you
homework and his
always have to
parents
pick
beat
up a
him.
specific example with Bob. You can definitely pick up a statistical example, or you can even give a personal experience. I mean, you can pick up statistics. You can say that, more than half of more than half of the students kind of did something
Okay,
when they
fine.
were caned or beaten up.
Normally, when a parent does abuse to a child, something abusive to their child, anxiety and trauma will instantly knock in, and it will make them really skeptical on what they do, um, causing them to do inhumane stuff, I guess.
Yeah, like sometimes, they can even think of taking away their own lives. Sometimes they stop studying. Sometimes they become a truant, they drop off college or school, right? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's so maybe you can say that statistics reveal or reports suggest that caning or beating up the child, has compelled, or you can say has resulted in more than half
Yeah.
of the learners. Or you can say, has compelled. You can even say
Mm.
that's, I
Yeah.
think, a better way of has compelled more than half of the learners to quit their studies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Yeah.
drop off, become truants. That's also a very good word. Truants. Truants are people who drop out from their college or school because of various reasons. So, do you see how we are
Okay.
doing this planning? Now, this entire planning is basically known as mind mapping, MM, something which is immensely powerful and which will actually help you in writing very accurate and great essays. So, this is known as mind mapping, MM. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
from now onwards, I think you were not aware about this technique of mind mapping. From now onwards, whenever you sit to work on a particular essay, it is good the moment you understand that this is the size that I'll be taking, this is the position and stance that I'll be taking. It is good if you can kind of, build up your point in this way rather than,
Okay.
jumping
So
and
you're
pouncing
saying
onto it.
I should do main idea, explanation, and then evidence.
Correct. You should do this. And then after you're done with this, then you're going to the main essay and writing the body paragraphs and working on the sentences and the
Ah,
words.
okay.
Okay, got it. So this is nothing but, I don't know whether you're aware about the term like flowchart and algorithm. Algorithm.
Huh?
Have you heard about algorithm? Okay,
No.
computers. Do you have computer science as your subject?
Yeah.
Okay, so haven't you ever come across algorithms and flowcharts?
Yeah.
Yeah, so algorithms and flowcharts are the basic and the foundation. Those are the initial stage even before a coder codes a program. So if your dad is into software, then he must be knowing, first we have to prepare those algorithms. We have to prepare the flowcharts
Yeah.
and then we have to do the, core coding and code programming. So this is nothing but doing that flowchart and doing that algorithm basically. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is how it is. Now we are starting with. Now my question to you is that once you have, once you're done with this mind mapping, you've decided your position and stance. How exactly did you start writing the essay or working on the essay? Did you start working on the introduction first, or did you
Yeah,
start working?
I
Okay.
started working on the introduction. I went by paragraph by paragraph.
Okay. And was it easier to work on the introduction, or was it that, you were wondering how to start, what to write first?
Yeah, obviously that's why I started on the introduction. Save the easiest for last.
Okay. All right. So, don't you ever feel, or didn't you feel while you were working on the introduction that it probably took you a little bit more time on the introduction? Maybe you could have worked on the body paragraphs first because the content of the body paragraph is main in the essay.
Um, no, not really.
Not really. Okay. I would suggest,
Because because the
Mhm.
introduction like kind of like drive like it kind of like controls about how exactly you're gonna say it. So like yeah.
Okay, all right. No worries. So there are different ways of writing, different sets of people, they have this different idea. But I always preach and I always promote and ask my students or suggest my students to work on the body paragraphs first. Now, the idea to work on the body paragraphs is not is that the body paragraphs have the main content, right? It's the main content of the
Yeah.
essay. In fact, the entire essay revolves around that concept and that content. So why not work on the body paragraphs first? Okay, starting to work on body paragraph 1. This is your body para 1, right? Okay, now you've started with
Okay.
now, which is fine, but I would want to start with a better transition word. Is there a better transition word that you know apart from now?
Better than now?
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
What?
Anyways,
No.
anyhow.
No, anyways,
No?
anyhow, these are language which is used when we are speaking. But when we are writing an essay, that is supposed to be more formal, right? So what we can
Okay,
use
okay.
is, we can use for a start, we can use for one thing. Okay. What are these? These are sequencing transition words.
Okay.
Why do we use them? We are using them because this is the first point on your side. So you're saying that, see,
Yeah.
punishment in the form of giving a warning, rebuking, reprimanding, criticizing, scolding is perfectly fine as long as it is not abusing or hurting the child, physically or mentally, right? So you're kind of giving the first point or
Yeah.
argument in favor of that, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So punishment is not bad, but it gets out of hand and it's a big no. We are not writing this part first, but we are just trying to talk more about punishment in the form of. So let's start with it could be argued that any punishment in the form of, you can see my screen, right? You can understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, I
You're
can see your
following, right?
screen. Yeah, in the form.
Okay. In the form of warning, rebuking, reprimanding, scolding. Now you say without punishment, children could never get disciplined. So let's write it. Is
Well, but that's the second sentence.
yeah, but could be. Yeah, I'll just tell you why it is this. Critical to discipline the child. Now look at this. Now see, I'll tell you something. Analyze this. Okay, it's very important that you analyze this. Writing this as a separate sentence, okay, and combining this with this, the way I did it, which is a better way of showing your proficiency in that, or which would engage the reader more. Writing this sentence in green in separate, in a separate, as a separate sentence, or putting it like, combining it with the first sentence and kind of putting it.
I guess combining it.
Yes, absolutely. So the first global technique that you learn for essay writing, especially for Cambridge essays, is combining ideas. Don't beat them, don't break them. Try to combine them.
So I should just make this long sentence.
Uh, Not a very long one, but yes. Why I'll tell you, because even if like, what's your native tongue? Is it Hindi?
Can you say that again?
I'm asking you, what's your native tongue? What's your mother tongue? Is it Hindi?
No, Telugu.
Okay, so it's Telugu, right? Now see, now
Yeah.
my native tongue is a different one. I don't know Telugu much, but if I have to show my proficiency, I mean, how would someone differentiate between the fact that you are a native who has his language as Telugu and I am not a native with Telugu? I mean, how would you show your expertise in Telugu?
Speaking it.
Yeah, speaking how? I mean, you won't make short sentences, right? You'll be very fluent and you'll kind of make very long sentences, grammatically correct long sentences, right?
Yeah.
Which I would not be able to do because my native language is not Telugu. So the overall idea over here is that if you really have to show your critical thinking abilities in your language, then you have to combine the ideas in English language. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can remove this. Yeah. Is that, I mean, did you get it? The first global technique in essay writing is that you have to combine the ideas as much as possible. But then when you're combining the ideas, you have to see that they are grammatically correct. They are grammatically accurate. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, how do you find these words? Are they good?
Yeah, they're very bold.
Mhm. So where do you think I got these words from?
The dictionary.
Okay. So the point is that you have to expose yourself to a lot of reading. Okay, so regularly, you have to get into a lot of reading so that you can get hold of these words, because if you're not reading good stuff, you'll never be able to learn good words or new words. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now your task would be to, yeah. Now, yeah. Now see, can you read this? All right. And tell me what exactly is your idea behind writing this?
Okay. This is way easier than comprehension because I actually wrote the sentences, so I have a reason behind them.
Yeah. So you've just written the sentences. Now, my point is that, even if you kind of written the sentences, but I think there has to be a little bit more, combining thing and all that. So you've written many children out there in the world turned big because of their parents forcing them to push and push more. We are not talking about pushing and pushing more. We are talking about punishing. And plus, children are very gullible, and if you do not knock sense into them, things can go wrong. So all that you're trying to say is punishment can actually knock sense into them, right? That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
is
it.
that is that what, I mean, does that come out from this?
Yes.
Does that come out? Read it and tell me, for an abstract reader like me, or like anyone else, when he or she reads these two sentences, would he or she be able to understand or fathom the meaning that you're trying to say, that punishment can knock this sense into them?
Mm, yeah. I think
Yeah,
most
I
likely.
don't, because see, nowhere have you talked about, I mean, written the word punishment.
Yeah,
And when
exactly.
you
That's
say,
the only part. I think I should have wrote punishment there
yeah, and I also feel that,
somewhere.
when you say knocking sense, so that how and why is missing, the one that we did over here. This part. When you say sense, what exactly do you try to mean when you say sense? It's like they become repentful. They start thinking and rethinking about their mistakes, self-realization
Yeah,
and all that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Self-realization.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let us do one thing. You have a chat option on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you just convert this into full sentences? I mean, write this in your own words in full sentences, maybe one or two sentences in the chat. Send it to me and then we'll discuss.
Into one full sentence.
One or two full sentences, we've written kind of notes over here. I wanted to convert it into different sentences, like one or two sentences.
Okay. That should
Okay,
be
on the
good.
chat, yeah. On the chat. You can do that, send it to me and we can discuss that. You can use your own words also. I mean, there's no hard and fast that you have to use these words, but the idea has to be this.
Okay.
Yeah, done.
No, not yet. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Take your time. No worries. Done, Rishi?
Yeah, almost done.
Okay.
Done. One gigantic paragraph.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. As long as it's good English, it's amazing.
I mean, not pair.
What?
Huh?
What? What
What?
do you say?
It's one gigantic sentence.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, as long as, see, I don't say that you have to make one sentence. You can divide it or break it into two, but break it if needed. That's the point. Okay, so we are starting with this implies, which is basically an explanation linker. So punishment is very helpful when it comes to self-realization. It helps rethink, yes. It helps rethink the actions done to reach the punishment, not to reach the punishment. I mean.
Wait, how did that come? And oh, you probably copy and pasted. Wait, that doesn't make it.
Okay. It helps
okay.
rethink the actions done.
Mhm.
And how about writing it
And
not only? Yeah. Not only helps rethink, but also uh, imbibes sense of guilt and regret. Yeah.
Okay. I spent like 2 minutes thinking of. I spent like forever thinking about the button, the good transition for button turn,
Okay.
and now she's gone.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Punishment is very helpful when it comes to self-realization, and then you're explaining it how it helps in self-realization. So,
Yeah,
it helps
exactly.
rethink the actions done. It imbibes sense of guilt and regret, and because of that, which in turn, not but in turn, which in turn,
Okay, which would be nice.
yeah, which in turn
Which in turn may cause fear that in the end unwanted consequences will happen if
may
something goes
cause
wrong.
fear, which in turn may, um, you can say, repel the child,
Yeah, I guess.
or maybe prevent. Yeah, how do you say prevent?
Prevent.
Yeah,
Uh,
prevent the child
yeah.
from doing anything wrong that
Inhumane
could,
action.
yeah,
Oh,
that could attract. Yeah, inhuman. Yes, that's right. Inhuman.
yeah.
Unwarranted consequences. Yeah, got it.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now look at this sentence. This whole sentence. Now, isn't it? I mean, if you look at this that you wrote just now, and you look at this that you had written, which is better? Which is kind of looking more professional, looking like, yeah, like he has.
The top, the
Yes.
red.
Yes. And why is it so?
The sense of vocabulary. There's more. The vocabulary is way higher in the red than in the black.
Yes. And the sentence is airtight. It's tight. Are you saying it's tight? Right? We are showing a
Yeah,
variation
but
in punctuation. We are using some high-end vocab. I won't say these to be high-end vocab, but vocab which are absolutely relevant to the topic. Self-realization, rather than beating around the bush, knocking sense, not doing wrong, etc., etc. We are making, or we are using some vocab which is high-end and which is absolutely relevant to the topic, right? So that is making the difference.
yeah.
Okay. So that's it. And then, you can give an evidence. So maybe you can say this could be, or you can say, for example, or for instance, even that sounds good. So for instance,
Yeah.
you talked about Bob, so maybe you can give that evidence,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Yeah.
again, there's something that you have to understand when you're writing this Cambridge essays, I'll tell you. I mean, they don't mention, they've never made a hard and fast rule that you cannot end a para with an evidence, but it is good if you're not ending a para with an evidence. It is good, it adds that standard and that aesthetics to your paragraph if you're not ending the paragraph with an evidence. So when we say you're not ending the paragraph with an evidence, you're basically giving a rounding off sentence. So what is a rounding
Yeah,
off
rounded
sentence?
off sentence, exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what is the rounding off sentence that you would want to give over here?
Okay, so if I just said,
write it on the
let's
chat.
just say,
Write it on the chat.
okay. What would be a good transition in the end?
You can use something like more importantly, most importantly, needless to say, not surprisingly.
Okay, needless to say.
Yeah. Done?
Almost.
Okay.
How do you spell conscience?
Conscience. You can write it and send it to me. I can probably, change it.
Okay, never mind. I got it. Okay, good.
Done?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Needless to say. Oh God, that's a very. Needless to say,
Very.
punishment has equally the same. Personally, punishment is good and can improve conscience. We don't need this.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
Yeah, and every time writing the word punishment is not.
okay.
Maybe you can
It.
say like punishing, or you can say resorting.
Using synonyms.
Yes, yeah, it's good and can improve. Good. So we are this. Cool. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it, right? So this is exactly how you basically have to work on a particular
Yeah.
paragraph on a particular point. So I mean, what did you? Okay, Rishi, I'm just closing this room and starting another one. Maybe you can join in with the same thing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.